Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kaustubha. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Cana, New York, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kaustubha Das. Welcome to the show, and welcome to Walk on Wednesday. Before we bring on our Walk on Wednesday guest, special guest, exalted guest, I want to say welcome back to myself. I was going to say welcome back. You guys have been here. I've been traveling. I just got back. Mara just got back. We're just getting regulated, and we kicked it off with a Sweet Baby Krishna. We're doing Sweet Baby Krishna again tonight at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time for Patreon members. If you're not a part of Patreon, come on, join the Patreon party. We are doing Sweet Baby Krishna marathon this month. As much as I possibly can, I'm going to do it.
Wow.
Because I'm going through some stuff, Kaustubha. I'm going through some stuff. I'm going through a little stuff. And you know what? It's going to be the theme of our show today. Going through some stuff, having desires, not getting desires fulfilled, getting frustrated, getting angry. What do you do with that? We're going to put a pause on that. But I'm trying my best to take shelter of Sweet Baby Krishna.
Very good.
So.
And I think we got to mention this weekend too. You want to
This weekend's Rath Yatra Festival in New York City, and we're doing our Wisdom of the Sages weekend. If you didn't sign up and want to, it's going to be, this is all we do is party, but it's transcendental party. It's not like the old school parties. It's a transcendental party. We dance, we sing, we eat, we dance a little more. We make good friends. Come join us at the Bhakti Center this weekend. Sign up at bhakticenter.org. And one other very interesting announcement, my friend. Interesting announcement.
What could it be?
You say something first, and then I'm just going to pull up my dates.
I guess I could say I wonder what Rogan's announcement is because I have absolutely no idea what it is.
You don't know what it is.
Oh, is it about what you called me about yesterday?
Yeah.
You already got dates and everything?
I got dates.
That's so awesome. Oh, this is exciting.
Dates. This is good for the European Zoomies. We are
others.
doing a Wisdom of the Sages retreat in Tuscany. In Tuscany region of Italy. But it's not going to be a luxury vacation. There's luxury Tuscany retreat, your own sunken tub, But it is a beautiful villa, but it's in an ashram. It's clean and simple, and it's the grounds are gorgeous. It's called Villa Vrindavan. And it's in northern Italy, in Tuscany, right outside of Florence. So we're going to take day trips to Florence, and we're going to try to keep the prices reasonable so we can get everybody to go. They have an incredible restaurant where you get the best Italian food, and plus they have great Indian cooks. And you're not going to believe what's going to happen, Kaustubha. And I just figured this out.
What?
My calendar. We're going to be there on Krishna's appearance
Janmashtami. Oh, that's so cool.
Janmashtami. So that's going to be Monday, August 30th till Labor Day. It's going to end on Labor Day to Monday the 6th. And we're going to give details for that soon. But imagine hanging with us in Italy. I'm so psyched. And if you've been, I don't know if you've been to Florence, Kaustubha. Florence is incredible.
I've never been to Italy.
Oh man, I'm serious. We're gonna do a day trip of Vespa rides.
My people are from Florence, actually. That's where my family comes from.
Mine too.
From Florence?
Well, they're from Tuscany.
Okay. Look at that. My wife's going to come along, too. That's the plan.
This is great. Okay, now we got to see if we can drag Mara there. Mara's hard to get out of.
Get close to that mic, Raghu. You're drifting away.
Come on.
Get it in your face.
Time to introduce our Walk on Wednesday. We got a special guest. I wish I had a trumpet, but please welcome Govardhan Das from Portland, Oregon. Welcome to the show, Govardhan. Can you hear me okay?
Hi.
Was that a yes? I just heard it.
Yeah, hi. I'm here.
Well, welcome. He sounds underground because he is 4 stories underground in secret kitchen, cooking, designing recipes. He's like in a lab designing special recipes because he has this incredible vegan bakery called Ben and Esther's Vegan Jewish Deli. So he started one, and then we had Mukunda Kishore on the show, and they're both starting another one in San Diego. And this is like, he's one of these guys, Govardhan, that he's got incredible amounts of creative energy. He's a natural born leader. People like him. He's likable, but he's got one of these very, very, people tend to think, you're into Bhakti, you must be a real simpleton. No, that's just me. Govardhan is doing amazing things with his brain, and he's creating ways for people to connect with Krishna in the Portland area. And he's inspired. And so you want to tell us a little bit about the Vegan Deli first?
Yeah, sure. And I'll talk loud. Hopefully everyone could hear me. The Vegan Deli. So I opened it a couple years ago in Portland. Ben and Esther is named after my late grandparents, who were Jewish New Yorkers who raised me on, your typical Jewish soul food. So I wanted to make that accessible to the mainstream in a vegan way. So open that. It's been really successful in Portland, and I'm partnering up with Mukunda Kishore in San Diego to open.
Are you going to do franchises? Maybe Mara should open one.
Yeah, we're actually looking at that. So, and we'll be coming out to Jersey next year as well.
All right.
It's got to be huge in Florida, right? New York, Florida.
I'm trying not to go back to Florida anytime soon.
Okay, how about the Lower East Side? It sounds like it belongs on the Lower East Side to me.
Lower East Side would be great.
Yeah.
Wow. We'll see. We do want to create a franchise model where we can bring devotees in who are business minded, and start like another thing that's not a Govinda's.
Right.
That's great. And I heard Mara is helping out with the matzo ball soup. Is that true, Mara?
Yes, Mara is going to be designing some recipes for us. She's going to be our corporate chef.
Some vegan gefilte fish.
But, another beautiful thing that Govardhan Prabhu has done is, I think Portland was in sort of a spiritual lull, and he just said, you know what, enough of this, and he created the Bhakti Center Portland. Basically, started a center where they have regular, they do yoga, they do yoga, they do kirtan, they do satsangs, they do deity worship on a regular basis, and I had 2 people in Nepal, Christopher, one of our others out there, and Ashley, another other out there, who came from that program alone, from what you're doing there. So what you're doing, your desire to want to step forward and render some type of service, it's not happening in a bubble. It's happening with a massive ripple effect. And I just want to appreciate you. And can you share something about the Portland Bhakti Center?
Yeah, we opened the Portland Bhakti Center on New Year's Day this year, so a little over 6 months ago. And just as a way to give access to Bhakti, kind of for anyone, regardless of kind of where they're coming from. So we do a weekly Krishna feast every Friday. it's always vegan. And so people walk up to the door, we hand them a tray of prasadam to go. We have a weekly kirtan program, also a monthly kirtan in the park program, which hopefully we'll get you all down for.
We love it.
And then we're doing several weekly programs.
Incredible. And it's affecting people, and people need it in crazy times. So thank you for that. And I think a beautiful part of your story is you had got into Bhakti a long time ago, back in the days when me and Kaustubha did, where lived a strict life like a monk, and then you took a turn. You had a hard fall. I did too. I think that's part of some of our path in Bhakti, is we're not super straight lines. I use this example of like a speedboat and a sailboat. The speedboat goes in a straight line. The sailboat tacks, goes north, goes south, goes a little north, goes a little south, back and forth. And even though you sort of like fell off the cliff there, the beauty is the resurrection of your spiritual life. And I think for the most of us, we're not speedboats. We don't live lives in straight lines. And I just want to give you a shout out, and to all the people that go through a struggle, but don't stay in that struggle. They go through a struggle and they just go forward anyway. And sometimes it's a little bit of a detour, and sometimes it's a maha detour. But wherever we are in our struggle, we pick ourselves up, we find some good company, and we move forward with our God-given gifts. And it seems like that's what you're doing right now. And then when you look back at it, you look back and like those struggles actually are empowering you right now. Do you have that feeling, or do you want to comment on anything like that?
I do have that feeling. I did take a maha detour, that's for sure. And I think it was necessary. I think a lot of us, when we join, 18, 19 years old, we really haven't discovered like our authentic self, and we're just kind of put to work. I know when I joined, it was just, whatever they had me do, I did. And it wasn't really based on my nature or my inclinations. And so, I think taking that detour kind of definitely helped me figure out what my talents, what my interests were, and how I can use them. I see some little comment on the bottom of my niche. How I could use them best in Krishna service. And that's why I started the Portland Bhakti Center. In my detour, I really came in touch with my entrepreneurial spirit and my ability to manage and create and brand. And so returning to Bhakti, I realized that those were my talents, and that's what I know how to do best. And so now I feel more properly engaged because I'm engaged according to my nature.
That's a beautiful story. Prabhu, we really appreciate what you're doing. We're super happy that we got to meet you this weekend in Laguna Beach. You were visiting down there with Mukunda Kishore and working on the new Ben and Esther's Vegan Deli. And I just want to thank you, and you inspire us, and we're looking forward to do more and more things and support you in any way we can. And you're setting you're basically giving us, you're like a beacon of hope for us struggling. So thank you so much. I look up to you, and I appreciate you coming onto the show and sharing what you do. And maybe we could do a Wisdom of the Sages thing up in Portland someday.
For having me on.
Thank you.
Thanks,
and good
Prabhu.
luck with Ben and Esther's.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Haribol, Prabhu. Good. Thanks for waking up early for us here too. Haribol. Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. Yeah, and it is a beautiful story, because I find that we were, in one sense, we all got into this as teenagers, really. We didn't even know who we were. I mean, a lot of people go to university, they don't even know what they want to do. They're going to university, they don't know what they want to do.
Okay.
Right? They're getting their major in something they don't even know what they want to do. How many people have majors in stuff that they don't end up doing? So we became Krishna monks. We don't know what we're doing. We'll do anything. Tell us what to do, or we'll be labor. And then that doesn't last so long for the most part. We have to find what our niche is. Kaustubha, you're lucky because you're just like sort of naturally a teacher. So you just always were a student and a teacher, and it just came out natural. Me and Govardhan, we had our hiccups, and then we had to pull it together. But I look at the time where I sort of like stepped away from my bhakti path. I still looked at it as a bhakti path, but I was just distant from the devotees. That distance was painful, I will say. That distance was painful. But in retrospect, Krishna uses everything that you're going through for your... There's a master recipe Krishna has for us. There's a master recipe, and you just have to have that dropped pin in your heart of hearts. That drop pin of, you know what? This is where I'm going. And we encourage anybody going through a hard time. And sometimes we go through a hard time just to... What does Prabhupada call that? The something of fate?
That one, the trick of chance?
The trick of chance. Through a trick of chance, we end up somewhere we don't want to be, or in a relationship we don't want to be in, or in a part of the world we don't want to be in. There's some trick of chance, some weird twist of fate. And if you have that dropped pin of where we want to go in the big picture, Krishna will take everything that you're doing now and use it for that big offering you're working on. I'm really convinced, and we're witnessing Govardhan do that right now. And I really believe like it's happened in my life as well too. Joe Rogan. I wouldn't have met Joe Rogan. I was definitely away from my yoga my Bhakti-yoga world, and was just really into physical yoga and martial arts like a madman. I wouldn't have met Joe Rogan. Because of Joe Rogan, the podcast really like, a
couple decades later.
Couple decades later, man. This is Krishna's crazy recipe. Krishna's got a crazy recipe for all of us. You can't, just like when Mara's throwing stuff in that pot. It's like, what's she doing in there? She's throwing in a chili. She's throwing in some ginger. She's throwing in some basil. What's going on in that recipe, Mara? But she's got a plan. She's got a bigger plan for that soup. I can't figure it out. She knows what she's doing. Krishna knows what he's doing in your life, and you just got to hold on to those lotus feet. And he's got a bigger plan for us. What do you think about that, Kaustubha?
It sounds good. Well, what can I say? You're doing it, Raghu. Govardhan's doing it.
Okay. We're reading Jagannath Astakam this week in preparation for Lord Jagannath.
We meaning you?
Me meaning meaning Sri Baby Krishna crew.
You're going to read it every day?
Crew. We're going to read it every day.
Oh, it's such a beautiful song. Who wrote that song?
Well, it's a debate. It's a debate. Okay. Shankaracharya, some people say Shankaracharya wrote it. Some people say Lord Chaitanya wrote it.
I thought Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya wrote it.
Yeah. I think they're going to have a transit. Yeah, we don't know.
Okay.
But Lord Chaitanya definitely recited it. It's pretty cool to recite these prayers that these great avatars, great beings have chanted previously. It's quite beautiful. Every day in Vrindavan, I used to go to this Jagannath temple. Do you know the Jagannath temple on the Prikram path?
Of course, at the other end of it.
Far end of it, towards the end of the Yamuna.
Yeah.
And there's this incredible Jagannath temple. I used to go there early in the morning and chant the Jagannath Astakam with them for Mangalartik.
Wow. Look at you sneaking into your little Vrindavan temples, meeting people.
Doing
a little special chanting.
Yeah. And Mara doesn't remember, but I took her there. We had lunch there. You don't remember that. We sat down. They gave us khichdi. No? I'm giving her these. I'm handing her these transcendental memories, and she can't even retain them.
I'm trying to give you all that I have.
What more? You want me to put the khichdi in your mouth for you? What else can I do? We went there for lunch just recently with a group of devotees.
Right. So Jagannath Astakam is very beautiful, poetic prayers glorifying Krishna's special form, which is related to the festival that we're celebrating this weekend in New York City.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll bring that into the retreat.
Oh, definitely. I'm printing out copies for everybody to chant and sing.
All right.
Sing them to
It's got beautiful melody too.
Yeah. Here's the melody I chant. What is it? Kadachit kalindi tata vipina sangita karalo mudabari nari bandana kamalashvara madhupa Rama Shambhu Brahma Rapati Ganesh Archita Pado Jagannatha Swami Nayana Patagami Baba Tume. May that Lord of the universe, Lord Jagannath, always be the object of my vision. Meaning wherever I look, will I see Lord Krishna, Lord Jagannath, the Lord of the universe. Well, everywhere I look, when I see a plant, when I see a tree, when I see a human, when I see a best friend, when I see a person suffering, when I see an enemy, a so-called enemy, may I see Lord Jagannath in their heart.
No.
What an incredible prayer.
Beautiful prayer. But that's not the melody that I'm into.
That's the melody, man. You know why?
Come on.
That's the melody they sang at that morning program. That's why I do that one. Because those sadhus trained me how to sing it.
All right, well, that's nice. It's nice.
And that's what I teach, man. Don't try to break me.
Come on.
That's what I teach. The sadhus have given me that.
Okay, but you know the other one.
I know the other one.
You're against it now. Just
I'm
because
against it. I'm
those
actually
sadhus.
against it. You know what? There's
other sadhus that sing the other melody. What about them?
You know what it is, Prabhu?
Yeah.
There's like objective things. You lose your objectivity when you fall in love. So these sadhus took care of me. They gave me prasad. They fed me. They sat me down. They sang with me. And because of that, I've lost all objectivity, and I fell in love with them.
Okay. Well, because I'm in love with you, I'll try to adapt. To that.
It's a beautiful melody. Give it a chance.
I'll give it a chance. I'll give it a chance this weekend. But maybe we do both this weekend and give the people like the opportunity to experience both.
I'm really excited for this Italy thing. Italy is awesome, but it can be expensive. So we're trying to make it cheap because it's an ashram, and it's not like you're sleeping on the floor. It's a nice, simple. They redid it, but it's simple. But the ashram is in this gorgeous Machiavelli himself owned this palace.
What?
And the devotees,
Get out.
It's breathtaking. And I got to share this. We practice yoga in a massive Mahabharat museum. I kid you not. A Mahabharat museum with these breathtaking, 10 feet, 15-foot paintings of the Mahabharat. And I'm going to take people on tours through the Mahabharat. And they have an incredible Italian, what do you call that? A trattoria? Italian restaurant on the premises. There's a Radha Krishna temple on the premises. There's a swim pond on the premises. It's a gorgeous villa overlooking Tuscany. Wow. And and then we can go and then it's just like public transportation into Venice, and we'll have different options for people to do. They can go if they want. They can do music. We'll make that what people do whatever they want to do. They could chill out, or they could go to museums, or there'll
be some free time.
Yeah, we'll make free time. I'm going to take a Vespa ride with my friend Bhakti Tom. Bhakti Tom's Italian. He's my buddy. He did our teacher training. Okay, so let's get into the Bhagavatam because we got to talk about anger. You good?
You ready?
Okay.
Want to hit your mantras? Well, you hit your mantras. Why don't we do that?
Okay. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudiraye. Before we start in the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan. Unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being. Unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning. And to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshva badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya. Bhagavati utamashloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated. In loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Gyana Timurandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my teachers are forcing open my eyes with a torchlight of
it's getting hot. Hope they don't singe your eyebrows.
Like, who are these crazy teachers of yours? They got me in a headlock. They're putting a torch near my eyes with a torchlight of knowledge.
Oh, okay.
It's not a torch. It's a torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet.
Okay. All right. So today we're back in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3. We're in Chapter 12, entitled Creation of the Kumars and Others.
And others.
And
this is when the others were created.
That's right. And what's happened so far is that first Brahma had to create what's called here nescient engagements, different illusory kind of tendencies that keep people bound in this material world. And then what did he experience from that? Some kind of melancholy, some kind of job dissatisfaction, right? So right off the bat, the first person in the universe is feeling some job dissatisfaction. But to counter that, he created the four Kumaras, these little sages, right?
Little sages.
Some little sages.
Little people.
And they were meant to go forward and carry out those yogic kind of, what did they call them again? Let me see. I'm going to pull them up.
Progenitors of the universe?
Well, they didn't. They ended up not, doing that.
They're like, you can take this job and shove it.
Yeah, they didn't want that job. But each one of those Kumars was responsible. One was responsible for Vairagya, detachment, right, renunciation.
Right.
One was for yoga, mystic, practices. What were the others? Tapas, practicing austerities.
Vairagya, tapas.
And Samkhya, the proper analysis. So each one of those, that was to counter all that ignorance. So we got a chance to overcome it all. But he also wanted them to become progenitors, and they didn't want to do that. They said, forget it. We're not going to do it. Because we know, maybe there's a lot of joy, a lot of beauty in family life and raising kids and all that. But they also recognize that, there's a lot of potential for material attachment and illusion to set in. It gets complicated. Yeah. So they didn't want to even get involved in the complication. And they said to their father, Brahma, we are not interested in doing that. And so now Brahma, first he felt that job dissatisfaction, that melancholy from doing a job that he didn't like to do. Then he tried to counter it, and still he gets disappointment, disappointment in the kids. So now he's got, job dissatisfaction, disappointment. And then what did that disappointment lead to, Raghunath? We're going to talk about it today.
Well, from desires, frustrated desires comes krodha.
Oh, yeah.
Anger.
So we're going to hear about his anger. Yeah.
Yayato vishayan pumsha. No.
That works.
Was that it?
Yeah. Well, that's one of them.
Yayato vishayan pumsha sangas sajud pajayate.
Sangat sanjayate kama
krodha bajayate.
Yeah.
From contemplating the objects of the senses, one develops Listen here. This is a big verse.
Listen up.
From contemplation of the objects of the senses, one develops attachment to them. Yeah. From such attachment, lust arises. Like I think about something and then I want it.
Desire.
How can I enjoy that? It doesn't have to be, when they say kama, it doesn't mean just sex, like the Kama Sutra. It means any desire. But you think of something, I want it. And then when I can't get what I want, kama krodha bhajayate. When I can't get my desires fulfilled, I get frustrated. And I get angry. Krodha develops. When krodha develops, what is it?
Vimoha, bewilderment.
Bewilderment of memory. Like you're frustrated. Like, why am I even trying to control my senses anyway? Why am I even doing this in the first place? Some of us have been there. Ever do that? Just like you're trying to control your senses, but you have some attachment, and you're like, why am I even doing this? Why am I going to Wisdom of the Sages at 5 a.m.? Big deal. This is stupid. These guys are just like, don't they have anything better to do? I'm so much better than these people. And we get bewildered, and we forget why, because we have some desire, and that desire is dragging us off our path. And so there comes bewilderment memory.
That's bewilderment memory. That's
moha. And then that's
smrti vibhramaha. You lose your memory.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So from bewildered. Okay. You lose your memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost.
Buddhi nasho.
So the intelligence we've cultivated from hearing sacred literature on a regular basis. That's what Wisdom of Sages is about. That's why we started it, so you can hear transcendental truth on a regular basis. But my desire, my one wandering senses, my mind is dragging me off that path. And now I've fallen down. This is the slippery slope verse. What is it, 262?
Slow, yeah.
This is 262?
262 and 263. Now we're on 63.
Yeah, these are great ones. Put those on the board, Mariji. So, and then once that intelligence is lost, I mean, everything we've cultivated with our wisdom literature now is forgotten. And when intelligence is lost, one falls.
Pranashati. Buddhi nashat pranashati. When intelligence is lost,
one falls back down again into the material pool. And when I say pool, I don't mean the kiddie pool. I mean the ocean. the deep, bottomless ocean. And we can't swim, and there's a kettlebell tied to your ankle. That's the problem. It just comes from one of the wandering senses. The eyes, the ears, the genital, the sense of touch, right? I'm looking at that. I'm meditating on that. How can I enjoy that? That's the first step on the slope.
Okay. So that was contemplating the objects of the senses.
Yeah. What's that song? I hear knocking, but you can't come in. Is that a song?
Well, there's different songs. That I don't know any of that melody, but yeah. I hear you knocking, but you can't come in.
Yeah, that's Maya. Maya's knocking. Don't let her in. What's the song, Mara? Do you know it? I hear you knocking.
I think it's called I Hear You Knocking.
I hear you knocking, but you can't come in. Maya's going to knock. Get ready. She's knocking. She's banging. She's kicking at the door. And the answer is, no one's home. Go away. You don't open that door a crack. What do you want, Maya? Don't even go there. Don't even. Get on the floor, turn out the lights, and crawl around on your elbows. No one's home.
I think Fats Domino did a version of that song also.
That sounds like more like a Fats Domino melody.
Yeah, it's like a New Orleans tune.
Yeah. I hear you knocking, but you can't. That's our song dedicated to Maya. Hashtag that one, Mara. I hear you knocking, but you can't come in.
All right. Sure.
Great verses, huh? Did you put those on the board? 262,
Yes.
263.
She's
So if you're learning verses, Shloka Crew, Nityananda Chandra, we have our Patreon Shloka study group. Those two are great ones. Those two are great.
Mara, I thought we had an agreement every time you go to California, you're learning a shlok. Did you learn anything?
Oh.
That one.
She slept like a log on that plane. I was like, Mara, wake up, Shloka time. She's like,
Yeah, right.
All right. Next time we go to California.
Me and Mara had a appropriate seat between us just to keep that teacher-student relation.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like we kept the middle seat empty.
space.
I had the window, she had the aisle, but then I was like, I'm too tired. I just snuggled like a ball and took a full seat. Oh yeah. Okay.
All right. So
Maybe when I go to Italy, I'll learn a new verse, Kaustubha.
maybe. I think when you go to Italy, you should learn several verses.
Yeah, it's a
Keep
long
that in
flight.
mind. That's a long flight.
It's a long flight. All right, let's carry on, my wayward son.
All right. So Brahma spoke. Let's see. I think we did text 6 on the refusal of the sons to obey the order of their father. There was much anger generated in the mind of Brahma, which he tried to control and not express. Okay, he's trying to keep it under check, right?
Yeah.
All right. And then now we're on text 7. You want to read?
Yes, I do.
All right.
Text 7, although he tried to curb his anger, it came out from between his eyebrows. So there's the third eye. Sometimes that third eye gives benedictions, huh? And sometimes it gives anger and frustration and devastation. And a child mixed blue and red was immediately generated. What? From his third eye.
Yeah. So
Go ahead. After this birth, he began to cry. A destiny maker, teacher of the universe, kindly designate my name and place.
So this is the birth of Lord Shiva is being described, right? Rudra or Shiva, right?
Rudra means one who cries, right?
Yeah.
The all-powerful Brahma, who was born from the lotus flower, pacified the boy with gentle words, accepting his request, and said, "Do not cry, baby Shiva. I shall certainly do as you desire."
Right? You have little Balashiv there.
Balashiv, do not cry. I shall certainly do as you desire. Therefore, Brahma said, O chief of the demigods, you shall be called by the name Rudra by all people because you have so anxiously cried. My dear boy, I have already selected the following places for your residence: the heart, the senses, the air of life, like the prana, the sky, the air, the fire, the water, the earth, the sun, the moon, and austerity.
Okay.
These are all the places where Shiva resides.
Let's slow down right here, Raghu, okay? Let's slow it down now. So now we have, from frustration, anger was born, right? And now Brahma is he's kind of like in charge of the mode of passion, right? And represents that. And so he had a desire. Passion means, there's something that I don't have that I want. And his want was for his kids to start creating some progeny. But that want was frustrated. And then anger was born. So both, literally and metaphorically. But literally is born here in the form of Lord Shiva, who's he becomes responsible for the mode of ignorance, the mode of darkness, which by nature is destructive, right?
Sure.
And so where does that element of destruction exist? In anger, very closely tied to destruction. And here we're hearing that anger exists in the heart and in the senses. And then as we go down that list, there's different destructive elements, like the fire and water and earth and sun. They have their creative element, but they also destroy sometimes. So let's
How does
read
the
this.
moon destroy?
It cools things.
How is that destroying?
You ever been too cold? You ever?
The moon is making me cold.
Just read the purport. Take your skepticism and your cynicism and just leave it out of this
The
conversation.
moon is making me cold. Mara, come on. Back me up here. Okay, go on. All right, can you read this? Because
Oh, you don't got your thing? Okay.
yeah.
The creation of Rudra from between the eyebrows of Brahma as a result of his anger, generated from the mode of passion, partially touched by ignorance, is very significant. Okay, this is a blend of the mode of passion, I want something, touched with the mode of ignorance, that's that destructive element, right? In Bhagavad Gita 3:37, the principle of Rudra is described. You know that 3:30? I think you were quoted from that earlier, weren't you?
337.
Kama Esha, Krodha Esha, Raja Guna Samudbhavaha, Mahashano, Mahapampa, Vidyenam, Iham Vairinam. That it is Kama, desire, only, Arjuna, which is born of contact with the material mode of passion and later transformed into wrath, into anger, Krodha, which is the all-devouring sinful enemy of this world. And that's text 37. Maybe we go back and read the commentary of that. It's some great stuff in there. So Prabhupada says, in Bhagavad Gita 3:37, this principle of Rudra is described. Krodha, anger, is the product of kama, lust or desire, which is the result of the mode of passion. When lust and hankering are unsatisfied, the element of Krodha appears. All right, so, anger is such a big deal, right? It's like it destroys relationships. It becomes a destructive element in our lives. A lot of people, they suffer because they can't control their anger.
Yeah.
And, they harm those things or those people that they care most about. And so it's something that, controls us. It's only really the wise person, that really gets it under control. So he says, when lust and hanker are unsatisfied, the element of Krodha, anger, appears, which is a formidable enemy of the conditioned soul. This most sinful and inimical passion is represented as ahankara, or the false egocentric attitude of thinking oneself to be all in all. Such an egocentric attitude on the part of the conditioned soul, who is completely under the control of material nature, is described in Bhagavad Gita as foolish. Think about the egocentric, right? It means like, and here when Prabhupada uses the word egocentric, his definition of ego here would be like the false ego, the false conception of who I am, right? I am this body, I am whatever.
I'm the center. I am the center of the universe.
That's right, egocentric. So my world
it's
is
all
centered
about me.
That's right. Well, me and
Me
my
and
false
my
conception
pain
of me.
and me and how unfair people are to me because it's about me.
Everything should be circling around me. Everything should be operating centered around my desire. Okay, so the egocentric attitude is a manifestation of the Rudra principle in the heart, wherein Krodha, anger, is generated. In other words, when I recognize that the world is not designed to revolve around me, well, then I'll have a much easier time controlling anger, right? Not being controlled by anger. This anger develops in the heart, and maybe that's the takeaway right there, Mary. Note that one down, huh?
What?
When I realize that the world's not revolving around me, then it becomes much easier to control anger.
Yeah, lousy mug, but a great saying.
But it works.
I wouldn't buy that mug.
You don't need to buy that mug. That's not the point. So, the point of this, to these
Or are we just doing
centuries-old
this
teachings,
show just to create incredible products?
It's not all about mugs. So he goes on. This anger develops in the heart and is further manifest through the senses, like the eyes, the hands, and the legs. Okay, it starts to. That's what the Rudra is in all these different places, right? This anger principle. That's what this verse is saying. When a man is angry, he expresses such anger with red-hot eyes and sometimes makes a display of clenching his fist or kicking his legs. You do that. I saw that cartoon that they did of you, Raghunath, that little cartoon.
Did you see that thing I posted? Somebody made a cartoon of me, and I look angry.
What
and
song are you singing? You're singing a shelter song?
Here we go again, yeah.
Here we go again. You do that
on
little
my
kick.
Instagram account.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's what happens, right? Clenching a fist. Do you do that sometimes when you're singing?
Yeah,
there,
all the time.
Okay.
Clench fist.
Sounds like the Rudra principle is very much present in your music.
It's present in me, I think. I'm just an angry, bitter man. Mara, would you agree?
No.
No, never. No. Okay,
She's been trained well.
So sometimes, there's red hot eyes, and sometimes you make a display of clenching the fist or kicking the legs. This exhibition of the Rudra principle is proof of Rudra's presence in such places. When a man is angry, he breathes very rapidly. That's in the prana, right? In the air.
Great name for a band. We're the Rudra principle from New Brunswick.
I don't know. Maybe just Rudra. Something
like a
that.
dance band.
How about the Four Kumars? That's a pretty good name for a band, right?
The Four Kumars, that is a good name.
Maybe not a hardcore band, but
I don't think Rudra Principle would be a hardcore band either.
Rudra Principle.
It'd be sort of like one of those like technical rock bands.
Prog rock?
Prog rock.
Okay.
Okay, go on.
This exhibition of the Rudra principle is the proof of Rudra's presence in such places. When a man is angry, he breathes very rapidly. So again, in this verse, what was it saying? That it would exist in the heart and the senses and the air of life. Now you're breathing rapidly, right? When you get angry, it's controlled, right? That's why if you can control your breath, like if we see someone's getting really angry, say, hey, take a few deep breaths, right? Get that Rudra principle out. So when a man is angry, he breathes very rapidly, and thus Rudra is represented in the air of life or in the activities of breathing. When the sky is overcast with dense clouds and roars in anger, that was like yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Is like that upstate?
Yeah, pouring.
Yeah, it was like the storm set in. Boy, it was like heavy, right? And when the wind blows very fiercely, the Rudra principle is manifested. And also when the seawater is infuriated by the wind, it appears in a gloomy feature of Rudra, which is very fearful to the common man. So there's kind of a macro-micro thing described here. It's saying that this destructive principle, that's closely related to anger, that we see it in nature. We can look at nature's destruction. And we can also look within ourselves, within the air of our life, within our mind, within our heart, within our senses, how that destructive principle works through us. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, so the seawater, which is infuriated by the wind, it appears in the gloomy features of Rudra, which is very fearful to the common man. When fire is ablaze, we can also experience the presence of Rudra. And when there is an inundation of the earth, we can understand that this is also the representation of Rudra. There are many earthly creatures who constantly represent the Rudra element. What creatures do you think represent the Rudra element, Raghu?
Hawks, wolves, lions.
I would agree. Lion is mentioned here.
Really?
First one, snake.
Oh, interesting. Oh, yeah. Okay. Snake.
Okay. Tiger.
Tigers. Okay.
And lion are always representations of Rudra.
Completely guessed, and I got it.
You got one.
I said a hawk.
Yeah, that's not mentioned here.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes because of the extreme heat of the sun, it's in the sun. There are cases of heat stroke, and due to extreme coldness created by the moon, there are cases of collapse. So don't get on my case.
I need a Vedic scientist. I don't get this. I don't
Okay.
get cold in the moon. I just don't get it. You know, okay, I get it. You chant Hare Krishna, it's good for you. I get it. Control your senses, it's good for you. I get it. God isn't a deity. I can get that. The moon cold? I don't get it.
Okay, we got to reach out to a scientist. Let's note this down. Mara, could you note that down? We need to do some research.
Sure.
The moon is cooling. Although I will say, if you walk on moonshine and then you walk on shaded sand, the moonshine is cooler.
If you walk on moonshine.
Like there's sunshine, then there's on a full moon there's moonshine.
Walk, what do you mean walk on it? Like
I've walked barefoot on moonshine.
Like
and it's colder.
Into outer space? What are you talking about? Like you walk on the rays of the moon? What are you talking about?
No, come on. All right, imagine you're walking at night.
Like on a beach, you mean? Or
Yeah, around Govardhan Hill I was doing.
Okay.
And I was barefoot, and there's a lot of, there's a lot of like, darkness.
The sand.
But
Okay.
then the moon will shine through some area, and you'll feel like the moon has cooled the sand.
Oh, well, look at that. You did your own little experiment.
I know,
It's already working for you.
Miranda says yin is moon, yang is hot.
There you go.
And I don't know if
But
that
we'll
helped you,
do
Miranda.
some research into this one. Okay.
The moon shadow.
All right, let's continue. Cases of collapse because of extreme coldness created by the moon is mentioned here. That's Rudra. There are many sages empowered with the influence of austerity, and many yogis, philosophers, and renouncers who sometimes exhibit their acquired power under the influence of the Rudra principle of anger and passion. Can you name any of these sages?
Durvasa.
Yeah,
Angry.
Durvasa is going to be mentioned here.
He's got it. Who else does some cursing?
Cursing.
Bhakti-yogi Muni. He cursed Govardhan.
Prabhupada mentions two big examples from Bhagavatam here. The first one you already
I got one.
Durvasa.
Shobari Muni.
No.
Got angry, cursed Garuda.
That's not in
Bhakti.
Bhagavatam.
Yes, it is. It's the 10th canto.
Okay.
Shobari Muni.
Okay, well, in any case, that's not what's being mentioned here.
Okay.
That's mentioned in the 10th canto or in the commentary to the 10th canto?
Shobari Muni?
Yeah.
That's part of the stories of Garuda and the cursing of Garuda.
All right. In any case, what's the other one? And it's a big one. It comes, it's like a crucial one to the whole story of the Bhagavatam. Who got cursed? Maybe the first curse.
Snake bird curse.
Yeah, there we go. You see, Mara's on top of it, Raghu.
You know what, Mara? It's
Sorry.
always completely inappropriate to show up your teacher in front of an audience.
I was trying to help
The
you.
Rudra principle is manifesting in
Supposed to
Raghunath
play
right now.
dumb. Oh, I don't know. I'm a fool.
I was
Maharaj.
feeding you little hints.
Yeah. If I do know anything, it's by your grace.
That's how we calm the Rudra principle in Raghunath. It's only by your grace, Raghunath, that we would know anything like this. Yeah.
All right, continuing on.
So it says the great yogi Durvasa, very interesting character, huh?
Well, he is a portion.
Of Lord
He
Shiva.
is Lord Shiva.
Yeah, the Rudra thing is really burning up in him.
Yeah, and he
So
gets angry, he gets furious, and then he gives great blessings.
He
And
does
Shiva
both.
does that too. Gives
Therefore,
great
he's
blessings
called?
immediately, and then loses his cool.
What's he called?
Asutosh.
Ashutosh. Which literally means very easily pleased, right? But along with that also indicates easily angered.
Yeah.
Right? So the great yogi Durvasa, under the influence of this Rudra principle, picked a quarrel with Raghu.
Ambarish.
There you go, Maharaj Ambarish. Incredible story, so many important lessons in that one. That's coming up later.
Yeah, that was a great king. Not just a king, but a very spiritually connected king.
Yeah.
Who made a little mistake.
He didn't even, right?
He didn't even make a mistake. He didn't even make a mistake. Durvasa was trying to find some fault in him.
Yeah.
He was doing a fast.
Yeah.
And whenever there's a long fast,
The king was
like
doing the fast.
the king was doing a fast to please Lord Vishnu, and there was a window of time when to break that fast.
That's right. You got to do it in that time.
You got to do it in that time, or you get no benefit of the fast. So he was about to break the fast, and Dervasa shows up with all his 1,000 disciples. Now, when someone comes to your house, you're supposed to. This is the tradition. We don't do it much anymore. We don't even like drop-ins anymore. We don't even let people. If we were just saying how you come to someone's house, You don't even like knock on the door anymore. You have to like text message them from the driveway. Hey, I'm here. May I approach? May I approach? You don't even call people. Do you ever notice that? You don't even call people anymore. You're like, you text them and say, may I call you? Do you do that? You know what I mean? It's like, you can't, how dare you just call me? You can't just call me. Anyway, that Dervasa shows up with all his students, and the king had to drop everything, but he didn't know what to do because he had to break his fast. And not only that, he had to make a meal for all of them, and the host should not eat before the guests. What could he do?
So two things are going on, right? Yeah, he's in a dilemma, quandary here. He's got to wait for his guests to come back because they're all bathing, right?
Because that's what guests do when they come. River, right? Imagine that. If guests did that nowadays, whenever they come to your house, come on in, take a bath. Welcome, take a bath. Here's a towel. But they do that, right? When we've been at cultured people's houses in India. Where's Venus? She's our India.
I just had an experience there in Laguna Beach. I was staying.
Prabjot, right? As soon as we get to these places in India, they say, please come in. Would you like, please, right? First thing is asanam. First, sit down.
Idam asanam.
Let me wash your feet. Sometimes they do that. And then they say, here, idam asanam.
Padyam, let me wash your feet.
Padyam, let me wash your feet.
Have something to drink.
Then give you some water. And then snanam.
No bath.
Please take a bath. And then they give you clothes. Here's vastram. Here's some clothing.
Maybe some flowers, a little incense, something like that.
Yeah.
And then?
And then they give you madhuparka.
A little madhuparka? What about
madhuparka? It's like basically it's like mouthwash, madhuparka, right?
No, madhuparka is like a I believe madhuparka is like a drink that has like some. It's kind of like gives you some energy, right?
No, it's like cloves. All right, Mara, can you look up madhuparka?
Madhuparka, but we're talking about like the 16 things that are offered in the puja, right? But that's what's that last one? I'm forgetting all the names now. In any case, so many nice things are offered to the guests, right?
But anyway, including a bath.
Back to Maharaj Ambarish.
Back to Maharaj Ambarish, which is a diversion from the original story also.
So you got
I think the madhuparka consists curd, ghee, and honey.
Yeah, you see, you're mixing it up, Raghunath.
Oh, okay. There's two of them they offer.
16 upachars, right? 16 offerings that are given.
Curd means yogurt, by the way. It doesn't mean honey or.
Yeah. Well, no, honey is the madhu. That's what the madhu and the madhuparka, right?
Achha.
Yeah.
Well,
and then there's something else that says it refers to sweet liquid food, and it contains ghee, honey, and sugar.
But you're thinking of the. Why can't I think of what it's called?
Ask your wife. She knows. It's offered before.
I'm pulling it up right now. Tambula. Yeah. That means like that's what you're talking about. Maybe some cloves and things like that's like when you go to an Indian restaurant and they have those little spice mix in when you're done. You put a little of that, and you eat a little of that, and it stimulates the digestion, purifies the mouth, right?
Then you have the madhuparka.
Cleanses the palate. No, the madhuparka is like one of the first things given. Madhuparka comes early on.
We gotta talk.
Right. You're doing your puja all wrong, Raghunath.
I've been offering Krishna the things out of order. Okay, let's keep it going because
well,
9 o'clock.
Yeah, we're already done. We got to pick it up, right? Let's just pick it up tomorrow, right from we're talking Maharaj Ambarish. We'll finish up the Maharaj Ambarish story and then continue with this. That sound good? More about anger.
Sounds great. We want to thank Govardhan for joining us, and we want you guys keep your eyes peeled. Do we have any takeaways, Mara?
We do.
Takeaways?
If I realize that the world doesn't revolve around me, it's much easier to control anger.
Mm-hmm. Is that all you got? I gave you that. I spoon-fed you that one.
I hear you knocking, but you can't come in.
Okay. That's got like a hidden meaning, but that's a good one.
Secret meaning.
And Krishna has a crazy recipe for all of us.
Crazy.
It's a crazy recipe. It all makes total sense, but there's a recipe. It's a very complicated recipe, but it makes sense for a higher evolution.
And
have
what
fun with your spices today, people.
What about that one about like it all starts with contemplating the objects of the senses? That was something worth keeping.
Yeah, don't contemplate the objects of the senses.
Stop it right now.
Stop it right now. Come on, let's get that music, Kaustubha. Where's the segue? I thought you were DJing this thing.
I'm ready.
Thanks, everybody.
I'm here.
Hey, Patreon people, tonight, 7:30. Sweet baby Krishna. We're going to Italy. Mark your calendar.
There's also a Bhakti recovery group meeting today at 1:00.
Nice.
And
this weekend.
Chandra's
Chandra.
Bhagavad Gita Shloka class is tonight at 8 p.m.
Wow.
Yeah,
8 p.m.
Busy
Eastern,
day.
yeah?
Yep.
And, you know, this weekend, everybody, come on out, you know? Join the retreat, join the parade. Let's do it.
Lord Jagannath Parade. So if you do Sweet Baby Krishna, you can go right to... can we do it at the same time? Mara, how does that work?
We're doing Sweet Baby Krishna at 7:30.
But then I have to
so
stop at
perfect.
8 o'clock sharp?
People
that?
might
It's up
have
to
to
you.
drop off a little. Yeah, it's up to you.
Does he do it through our Zoom account or a different Zoom account?
No, different Zoom account.
Okay. All right. Okay. We're going to see who you like better tonight, Nityananda, Chandra, or me. Okay. Remember,
all
it's
about
not a
competition,
competition, but it's a total competition. Hi, come here, baby B. Want to get on the picture? Look, here I am here. Look at this beautiful family.
Oh,
Is
is
Gopal
the blueberries coming in yet?
Baby B.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, Garangi, start dancing.
She's a good little dancer. You got a special step there. Where'd she learn that?
Yeah, good dancing.
Looks like I see some chickens running around.
Chickens, got some guinea fowl.
Guinea fowl?
Yeah. You take good care of me this morning.
Where are they on the pecking order, Raghunath?
Guinea fowl?
You got to turn to the mic. We can't hear you.
Guinea fowl are at the top of the pecking order. They pick
All
on
right.
all the chickens. The whole world has a pecking order.
Okay.
Whether we like it or not, it's just sort of like woven into our DNA.
You should write that into your book, like your observations of the fowl,
Yeah.
lessons learned.
I think as bhaktas, we're trying to transcend our pecking order. Although there naturally will be. Right? Do I peck you or do you peck me? Mara, what do you think? He pecks me or I peck him?
Back and forth.
Yeah.
I give you full license to peck me.